Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello. Welcome to episode 33 of the podcast, people. I'm feeling energized today, in case you can't already tell. I'm feeling just like juiced up. I don't know. Also, I just had a great, lovely little snack, and I stepped outside for a hot second. Beautiful blue skies today in Utah. The weather has been superb. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time outside and just like in the sun, and those like the best. They're just the best days ever. Like, there's nothing better than like summer days where you're just outside all day long like that, and then you come back in and you're like kind of a little bit burnt, like you feel a bit fried from the sun. You take a really good shower, you lotionize. Like, that was literally me. I literally put oil all over my entire body. Like, I'm not kidding. Face, full body, everything. And I just was like, like, it just is great. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. Happy 4th of July, by the way, as well. If all of you guys celebrate, maybe not. But I hope you guys have had like a safe, fun weekend and have a good week ahead. Hopefully I'm releasing this on the 4th of July, but hopefully, you know, it will help you regroup for the week ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, get back on it a little bit. But anyway, so my gratitude for today, I wrote a whole gratitude list, which also, you guys, this is a side note, but getting outside first thing in the morning, transformative. I've been doing that for the past like week. I used to do that last summer, and I haven't done it in so long. It is so transformative for me and just like sets my whole day up to be even better than just to be even better. But so anyways, wrote a whole freaking gratitude list. And the one thing specifically that I was feeling like really like, yes, that's it today. I'm just feeling thankful for knowledge. Like, overall, I'm super thankful that we have the opportunity and the privilege to learn, whether that being through going to school, through taking a course, just through, you know, your own research online, through reading books. That's kind of how I meant it, because I just picked up a new book, and I love just being able to acquire new knowledge and be knowledgeable in a field and a topic, and just feeling like an educated human being. So that was my gratitude for today. And for today's episode, I'm going to talk all about taking action. And I know that I kind of touched on this at the end of one of my previous vlogs about like getting out of a rut. And then I actually just coincidentally spoke about this with my sister the other day. And I gave her this little pep talk, and this was just something that I specifically really was freaking struggling with, and same with my sister, but something that I was really struggling with when I was really in that rut after coming back from Hawaii. And it's a common thing for so many of us to struggle with, right? Like, I don't know why it always feels so hard for us to actually do the dang thing. Like, I feel like a lot of us, it's kind of honestly the easy part to be like, okay, I'm going to come up with this action plan. Okay, I'm going to write down like these process goals, right? But then, you know, you could look to different podcasts to motivate you. You could watch certain YouTube videos to get you inspired. You can read books to help you learn what you need to do, what steps you need to take. But then when it comes time to actually take those steps, take that action, sometimes it feels like so freaking hard. Or when it's time for you to actually follow through on those promises you made to yourself, sometimes it feels like the hardest dang thing in the world. And that's essentially what we're going to be talking about today, and how you can what you can do to get over that, and kind of the perspective shift that I've made to then kind of come up with a different life hack and a cheat code to look at your to-do list in a different way to make taking action feel a lot more easier. So like I said, I kind of touched on taking action at the end of that YouTube vlog about being in a rut. And when I was editing that video, I kind of got hit with the download, and I was kind of like, okay, what's the issue? Like, why is taking action, why does it feel so dang hard sometimes? And it hit me that action seems so difficult when we let our mind take over, when we get in our head, when we negotiate with our mind. Now, let me explain. I want you guys to think of the times when you feel it is the hardest, or when you struggle the most to take action. It almost always is when you start to think too much about it, and you start to develop a perception around said task or whatever you have to do. That's when you think like, but that's going to be really hard to do, or that's going to be miserable to have to get through, or but I'm comfortable right now, or what should I do? Should I do this first or this first? It's all of that like indecision, and it's deeming whatever you have to take action on, whether it is comfortable or uncomfortable. And that's what kind of shapes that viewpoint of making you want to actually do it or not. It's what makes the actual concept of having to take action much bigger than it actually needs to be. It's when we build it up in our minds, that's when the problem takes place, and that's when it seems like such a bigger bear to have to handle. I always say this, no matter what it is in life, whatever your mind says is going to be hard, it's going to be hard. So if you're thinking about this task that you have to do to take action on, and you're like, but it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have to make myself uncomfortable to get myself to go do this said thing. It's going to be hard. I don't want to do it. That's going to be a lot of work. It's going to feel hard. You're going to feel like you don't want to do it, and it's going to feel like a lot of work. But this is exactly why I titled this episode The Ease of Action, because on the flip side, it actually is easy if you let it be easy. And I always say that it's easy if you let it be easy, because everything always goes back to our mindset. And a lot of the times it's these mental constructs, which is my whole entire point of this episode, that make us feel like something is possible or impossible, easy or hard, plausible or not feasible. So it really does all start with your mentality. And if you believe that something is going to be easy, it will be easy. And that comes specifically, it starts for sure with how you view the things that you need to take action on, and kind of getting that viewpoint under control will make the actual act of action feel much more reasonable and maintainable and achievable. And so with that being said, I want you guys to think of any action that you have any sort of mental connotation with as easy. So for example, raising your hand. That actual action is super easy, right? You're just, okay, I'm going to tell myself to lift my hand up in the air and raise my hand. So I did. That was easy. The actual action of that was didn't take a lot of energy, didn't take a lot of willpower, didn't take a lot of strength. Just that action of itself, you didn't really have to think too hard about it either, because you already kind of have that belief and connotation and belief system that raising your hand is something that's easy. Another action that is very much so deemed as easy, but can feel so hard sometimes, and that is standing up from a comfortable chair, or maybe you're laying in bed, but just the concept of like standing up and getting up. Now again, this action itself is very, very easy, especially if you're a normal, average, healthy individual. It's not like it's manual labor, right? But sometimes it feels like it is the hardest thing, especially when you're like in bed. If you're really comfortable, you're warm, you're sucked, like glued to your phone, the world of your phone, right? And for some reason that can feel so hard sometimes, like get up and like go to the gym, right? But again, the action itself is super easy. If someone was going to pay you $20, you'd be like, for sure, I can sit up and stand up. That's super easy. And that's exactly what I mean when the action itself is not actually hard at all. It's just the thought of it that is. And I'm going to say that again. The action itself is not actually hard at all. It's the thought of it that is. And that's exactly what I mean when these kind of mental constructs get into our mind, when we negotiate with our head, when we get into our head, that makes things feel so hard. We feel like we make the action itself seem so much bigger than it actually is. And that's the exact reason why action can feel like an SOB, a son of a bitch, and just feel so much bigger than it is, and so much daunting and so much harder. But it's solely only because we're getting in our head about it. Every single thing is actually easy. It's just simply the thought of doing so that makes it seem like such a challenge. If you truly simplify everything and pull all the layers back and look at the task, just simply for the task, you strip away the thought, you strip away the emotion, and you just focus on just simply doing the task, like just simplifying it and what the actual instruction is in the first place of just doing it. Everything feels so much easier and so much less complicated. And having this new perspective has allowed me to now see that past illusion as an illusion, and now see it as, seeing taking action as a truth, and view my tasks for what they are, which is simply just tasks, right? It's just business. Like I said, that thought and the emotion around doing said tasks is what derails us, right? Because another example, it's like if you want to get up and let's say you were going to set an alarm for 8 a.m. and you're going to get up and go to the gym. The alarm goes off at 8 a.m. And what is like the biggest thing that makes it so hard for us to get up out of bed and go to the gym? We start to think about it. And we start to get in our mind, whether that's we try to negotiate with our mind, we try to talk about it in our mind. We're like, oh, wow, it's 8 a.m. already, huh? Like, damn, that snuck up on me. Okay, so should I go to the gym and do legs or upper body? But I mean, I kind of already did upper body 2 days ago. Like, I could just do it tomorrow though, because I think that'll be better, because I am kind of tired right now. Like, I think tomorrow would be like a better workout probably. And, I could definitely get there a little bit. And, I didn't really eat a lot yesterday. And also, what if I wanted to do that at 10 o'clock today? It would probably be, see all this mental, you're already all in your head about it, which makes it seem so much more difficult and you're overcomplicating it because you're reading into it. Just simply take the action that you said you're going to take. Your alarm went off at 8 o'clock. You said you're going to get up at 8 and go to the gym. So the alarm goes off at 8. Just turn off your mind, you guys. It sounds so crazy and like almost like you're ignoring yourself, but like sometimes you kind of need to, especially if you want the systematic discipline that needs to be in place for you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. This is the side of me that's like super like coach Livfiit, but it's true. And it doesn't have to just be with fitness. I'm just using this as an example, but you kind of need to turn off your brain a little bit. You kind of need to turn off your mind and stop negotiating it and thinking about it, like I'm saying, and get up like you said you're going to get up, put on your clothes, get in the car and drive to the gym. And not only does that save you all the wasted energy of just debating, the mental energy of debating in your brain, but also the time that it takes you to keep debating with yourself, even if you're like, okay, I'll get up, but then like, should I wear this or wear this? Like, it's all just a waste of time with like just everything. If you just didn't negotiate with your mind, you got up, you took the actions without thinking so hard, you got to gym, you would be back in time. You would probably be back before you were finished thinking about all those things that you were trying to think about of whether you should even go to the gym or not in the first place. So another example, okay, in terms of you wanting to go for a daily walk. I feel like I do this all the time. Should I walk now or should I walk later? But okay, so then but right now like the weather's okay and maybe I shouldn't do this, but maybe I could do it for tomorrow, but I feel like maybe I should work on this first. Again, all that mental chatter that is just solely derailing you and prolonging and procrastinating actually doing the action that you set forth. Whether you want to get up and journal, right? All that mental inner dialogue of debating whether you should do it or not is simply just procrastinating and pushing you further away from actually getting the task done. Stripping that thought away, stripping the emotion, stripping away how you feel, and just simply doing. That is how you simplify, and the more simplification there is in your process, the easier it is for you to stick to, adhere to, and the more sustainable that process plan is. So with that being said, how can we kind of reframe our to-do list to feel more effortless? Well, my answer to that is reframe your thoughts around your to-do list and the tasks that you have to do. And I have 4 specific tips here that I have outlined that I'll share. Number 1, like I've been saying, is stop negotiating with your mind. I already used this example previously, but when your alarm goes off at 8 a.m., should you get up to go do your work or go to the gym or whatever you have planned, whether you want to go meditate, don't sit there and negotiate with your mind. Don't sit there and think about it, right? That the thought is where the complexities come into play. Just simplify it. Simplify. Just simply take the action that you said you were going to take the action on. That's it. Don't need to ask why. Don't need to read into it. Don't need to ask if it's a good time. Don't need to ask, but why should I do this instead? No. Stick with the action that you have laid out with yourself. Stop negotiating with your mind. Stop thinking about it and just get up and do it. Second thing that goes hand in hand with that, I have written, get out of your mind and into your body. Just do. Stop thinking about it. Thinking about the action itself rather than doing it and thinking about how long it's going to take me or how is it going to feel, etc. All that is simply distraction. You're prolonging it and you're procrastinating. Just do the action that you promised to do. Now, number 3 is kind of what I was saying, to reframe your thoughts around the tasks that you actually have set out for yourself. So I like to look at the tasks that I have to do now. I try to reframe that narrative and look at all of the benefits on the back end of that action rather than focusing so much and placing so much of your focus and your intention on the initial discomfort of the action. So, for example, it might feel very uncomfortable for me to get out of my warm bed, right? Like I'm comfortable right now. I don't want to move. But that uncomfortability of getting out of my warm bed to go meditate, that's going to set me up for so much more successful day. I'm going to feel more balanced for the rest of my day. I'm going to be better equipped. I'm going to be a better person. I'm working on feeling who I am, self-exploration. I'm going to be closer to the uni, closer to my higher self, right? Better equipped just to handle the day ahead. Starting to look at my tasks in that sense and kind of, I guess you could also look at it as remembering your why or reminding yourself of your why is so freaking powerful and transformative and kind of allows you to focus on the right thing. anything in life, the saying, anything in life worth having is worth working hard for. It's kind of like there's a lot of things in life that require some sort of sacrifice for you to get what you want. And I don't say that in a sense of like you need to live most of your life to be miserable because just promise it's going to be better on the other side. No, that's not what I mean. But, that's also a quote, right? That discipline is a form of self-love. So I'm not saying that you need to do things that you absolutely hate and would rather be poking your eyeballs out to do just for a reward on the back end. No, that's not how I live my life. And I do think you can for sure be enjoying your life on the day-to-day and love the process. I think loving the process and loving the journey is an imperative part of life. That is the point of life. But at the same time, I would be lying if I said that even a lot of the things that I genuinely enjoy doing, that I love, I would be lying if I said that I don't. I feel like I'm mixing myself up here. There definitely are times where I don't want to do these self-discipline habits that I have set up for myself, even though I want to do them on the back end because I know that it helps me become the person that I want to become and a person that I admire and respect. So having that self-discipline of putting in the work now for a better you tomorrow is so worth it. And that's the thing, even some of the things that we love to do, even our favorite hobbies, right? That is completely just for joy and pastime. Sometimes we're not in the mood to do it. And that's the same thing with even these self-care habits or these action steps that you need to take to help for you achieve your goals. Even if you enjoy it because we love the process, right? We're pursuing things that we love. There still are some days that we don't want to do it and it's uncomfortable and it's hard for us to get up and actually take the action. But remembering the benefits that it has for us on the back end and on the long haul is what will help to fuel our fire in those initial stages to actually help us get up to do the dang thing. And that was something else I saw on TikTok. I forget what it was, but there was this girl who would she would talk about 4 p.m. me. Right? Or basically just essentially saying her future self. So at 8 a.m. she'd be like, how do I want 6 p.m. me to feel? I forgot about this. I'm just remembering this now. And I loved it. I loved I just loved the perspective of it. Now I wish I even knew who she was so I could plug her. But she would do things and just constantly think about her future self. And it was such a good way to look at her day. And I kind of have been doing that, I guess, subconsciously, but now I just remembered that TikTok. So it's even a better way to think about it. In the mornings, because I tend to not be as efficient as I want to be, or a goal of mine has been to work more efficiently. So I've been trying to really keep up the tempo of my day, or when I complete one task, be like, okay, yep, good job. Now next, move to the next one. Don't just sit on your phone now for the next 20, 30 minutes. And I've been doing that, and what has been fueling me is thinking about how I want to feel at the end of the day and how I want to feel tomorrow, right? And so thinking of it that way has also really helped me as well to actually just get up and take the action, because I'm thinking about future me, where I know if I'm lollygagging, or I know if I don't follow through on this one promise, or whatever the case may be, or if I don't take this action and get this thing done on the to-do list, I know I'm going to feel stressed later on. I'm going to feel kind of disappointed. I'm going to be like, come on, I know you had more in you, Liv. So thinking about the future self, my future me, has also really helped. And number 4 is, this has been a huge one for me, is actually coming up with a schedule for your day or planning out your day, right? And this is going to vary from person to person because not everyone resonates with this. And for me, for example, on my planner, mine has time slots, and I don't love that, but I know for some people time blocking helps so freaking much. But I used to just simply write down a to-do list of okay, these are all the things I need to get done today. But what has helped me has kind of been, you could always do that, just brain dump all the things you have to do. But then I try to order the tasks of how I want to do the things on my to-do list. You know what I mean? So I'll try to come up with an actual order of what I want to do first to last. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be in a time blocking system, because sometimes I feel like it's just too strict for me and too rigid. But it helps to give me a sequence, right? A certain flow where I know what's coming next once I complete a task. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because that kind of indecision, or not knowing what you should do or what you should do next, that's when you're kind of wasting that time thinking. And that's again when you start to inevitably start to kind of negotiate with your mind and you start to think about your tasks too much. And that indecision just doesn't lead to anything anywhere good, and it just kind of prolongs that action, and then it makes it harder to take action down the line. So having kind of a somewhat of a game plan and some sort of a direction and blueprint for the day helps me so freaking much. And again, I'm not to say that life won't get in the way, that, you know what I mean, that you won't not ever be able to complete everything that you have written down. But I'm just saying, again, a big reason for not taking action is that indecision, because you don't know what you should do. Another thing that helps me is kind of writing out more so weekly goals. And so, for example, what I mean is, I will say, like, okay, by the end of the week, I want to have 4 Instagram posts up. This is me in terms of my content creation lifestyle. So, like, apply this how you see fit in your normal job and to-do list. But I will write, so like 4 Instagram posts for the whole week. I want to upload 2 YouTube videos by the end of the whole week. So again, it's kind of, I have more flexibility, again, because I also have the other side of me that's like more intuitive and like let your creativity flow and like do what feels good, be in your flow state, like, which can't always be structured and planned out. So kind of doing something more so like that on the weekly basis gives me some more breathing room, wiggle room, allows more flexibility for my creativity when it's coming and going, that whole sort of thing. When my heart is kind of in what I'm creating, it gives me space for that, but it still allows me to stay on some sort of direction to making sure that I'm still being guided towards taking action. So that was my 4th and final little tangible thing to implement to help you take action. And this mindset shift has helped me so much with switching things into gear and switching it into do mode, like DO mode, as opposed to kind of that pondering, the marinating, and just your thought and debating with yourself of whether you should do it. And it sounds so simple. It's almost like, I hope this is hitting for you guys as much as it hit for me, because it was just one of those things where I was like, whoa, like mind blown. And that's my favorite, when you are finally able to simplify a concept so much that it then becomes like something that you can grasp and something that's so easily pursued. And I just feel like that's with everything in life. Like the mind is a beautiful place. Don't get me wrong. I'm a thinker. I love thinking. I love the mindset. I love philosophy. I love like the way the mind works. But sometimes the mind, which is very much so the human ego, which we talk about, as opposed to like the ego from your higher self, that ego kind of gets you stuck sometimes. Sometimes it's just dead weight. It's cement tied to your foot, where it gets the human mind, where it gets us too consumed in logic and thought, in form, right? And I say form in the sense of like, it reads into things too much. It tries to categorize things, and like that stuff, it just can feel heavy. Like sometimes it just does more harm than good, and it feels heavy, and it consumes us and it engulfs us, and it does kind of nothing more than kind of having us think in a circle, and doesn't allow us to actually move forward anywhere. So kind of just separating yourself from your mind sometimes, and doing what you can to not get lost in your thought, not getting sucked in to your mind and the human ego, and stepping into your higher self and into your flow state of just simply doing without thinking so hard, without asking so many questions, without the constant debate and the chatter and the negotiation in your mind, and just simply getting into that flow state of just doing. It's so empowering, and it's, again, like I've been saying, it just simplifies the process, which I feel like any business person would say that the more simplified a process is, the better and easier it's going to be to carry out without any sort of defects, right? The success rate is going to be much higher because there's less variables, right, that complicate the situation. And in this case, your thought are the variables that complicates the situation. And the thing about action, again, I kind of touched on this in that YouTube vlog. It's just that like there comes to a point where no one can do it for you. Because don't get me wrong, like I know I'm juiced up right now, but I totally understand the feeling. I feel like I should have even opened up with this episode with it, but like I 100% understand the feeling where you know what to do. You know the action steps you need to take. You know what's going to work. But for some reason, it feels so hard to put one foot in front of the other to get yourself to actually like follow through, like the last like quarter turn of tightening the screw. Sometimes it feels literally next to impossible. So trust me, I get it. But the things that like really help me is just realizing that like no one can get you to take the action for you. And someone like me, right, who's so into personal development and self-improvement, as are you guys if you're into this podcast, it's like there's no amount of books or podcasts or courses that you can consume to get you to be where you want to be. All of those things are great, and I understand the irony because you're listening to a podcast right now, but I hope this is giving you the kick in the butt that you need. It's like there's only so much of that stuff that you can consume, read, learn that's going to be able to get you to where you want to be. Those are all great to, lay that foundation, to give you the knowledge, to put the tools in your toolbox. But there comes to a point where only the only thing that's left to do is for you to reach into your toolbox and use those tools. And that's what I'm hoping this podcast is going to inspire you to do, because at the end of the day, action is what's going to get you to where you want to be, and only you can do that for you. And there's just a point in time where you can't keep turning to these outside resources, and you just have to turn inward and just simply do the dang thing. Not to quote Nike, but like, just do it. You know what I'm saying? And it truly is as easy as you decide for it to be. It's as easy as you view it as, right? So back to kind of what I was saying, to reframing your thoughts around the tasks that you have to do, right? Be like, oh no, this actually won't be that bad. Like, literally, it's almost to the point of pure delusion, but I always say I'm going to choose whatever perspective is going to benefit me the most. And for me, if that's telling myself that it's going to be easy to go run a marathon, that's where I'm going to start. Because even if I'm delusional, and even if I don't fully believe it at a point in time, if I repeat it to myself enough and just have that viewpoint, that's going to make me one step closer, as opposed to just me fully being like, well, this is going to be hard, I'm just going to quit now. So that's at least how I view things. And so focus on the action itself and not what your mind says about it. Okay? I'll leave it at that. Focus on the action itself, not what your mind says about it. So for the affirmation for today, I take aligned action with ease. I take aligned action with ease. Now, in case also, I feel like I should say, if you're unfamiliar with the phrase aligned action, I just mean aligned action, like action that's aligned with the person you want to be, the goals you want to have, something that's aligned with your manifestations, right? The actions that are serving your higher self and the person that you want to be in, the place that you want to be in life, and the life that you want to live. So thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I really liked this episode. I feel like I haven't enjoyed doing an episode like this in a while. So I hope you guys really got something out of it. I hope it put a pep in your step. I feel like I'm going to listen to this the next time that I'm just like super in a slump and can't get myself to take action. But again, thank you so much for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe or leave a rating or review. That really, really helps out the podcast, and I really appreciate it, and just helps the podcast reach more people. Of course, I'm sending you guys so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.